What everyone wanted to see was Ohtani versus Trout, and we got it, Maggie.
We got it, and Ohtani got the best of him. Ohtani coming out of the bullpen in the top of the 9th inning got Mike Trout. This is how it sounded in English.
Ohtani's ready. Trout's ready. 3-2. He struck him out. Ohtani strikes out Trout, and Japan's back on top of the baseball world.
There you go. Yeah. And that's what it sounded like on Fox. Shall we hear the Japanese version?
Always.
Take it away. Somebody clapping in there? I've never heard someone clap in a call.
Yeah,
that was fantastic. And the whole sports world, I think, was euphoric about this last night.
I mean, especially, it was really a showcase for the Philadelphia Phillies, my team.
Yeah, you'll always bring it back
Trey
to
Turner and Kyle Schwarber hit a home run, and everyone on earth knows that Bryce Harper would have taken those Ohtani fastballs. So if he was healthy and batting fourth like he should be, then Team USA wins 4-2. And we're not even having this conversation about it. We're not playing that Japanese clip. So it was good for the Phillies. But overall, I just absolutely loved it. And the numbers, the ratings are huge, internationally especially.
Yeah,
the ratings are gigantic. This, to me, is a huge win for baseball, the WBC.
See, I don't see it as a win for baseball. I see it as a win for the WBC because that's now become the World Cup of baseball. So congratulations, because we're all going to set our calendars now to this. But it's a win for Shohei Ohtani because only goodness knows what that guy is going to get paid. He would have gotten it anyway.
Yeah.
But he's going into a contract year now, and he's going to be at the top of the baseball headlines all season long. What's Ohtani doing? What's he doing? What team is in on him? Who's going to trade for him at the deadline? All that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, but I think he was already kind of there.
He was, but this was a moment.
Yeah. Remember him he had an all-star game where it was all about Shohei.
Yeah.
I think he was in the home run derby and didn't do much, but I think if he gets $600 million, I'm just terrified for Shohei that he's going to get hurt this year. But I think the victory goes way beyond that, Maggie. I think this was the best marketing baseball's had, and I can't remember, since maybe the PED era.
Okay.
And I don't think Aaron Judge did that. Aaron Judge was great last year, but it was nothing like this.
Okay, but think about it. This was great marketing, but I don't think you're going to see a carryover from people who are watching the World Baseball Classic are now all of a sudden become these rabid MLB fans. I think what stood out to me the most about this tournament was how unlike Major League Baseball it was. How are people describing this tournament? It's fun. The guys are super into it. Everyone describes Major League Baseball season as a grind, a slog. The season's too long. Yep. And I'm glad they're going to have the pitch clock now and the shift's gone and maybe we get some faster games and that helps. But to me, this baseball comes out looking like losers here because they're everything the World Baseball Classic, they want to be the World Baseball Classic and they can't get that level of buy-in and excitement.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all know that underneath the Edwin Diaz anger is
it's
the
not
Mets.
About Diaz, I promise.
I don't know.
It's not. I'm over it. I promise.
I think it was a big win for MLB because it reminds me a little bit, and this is a much smaller version of the 1992 Olympic basketball team, the Dream Team. Sort of started off an era where NBA just completely took off. Yeah. The 90s were defined by the NBA. I was watching the Last Dance, the Michael Jordan documentary before, and the NBA Finals felt like the Super Bowl. It was huge. That's long gone for the NBA. But I think the Dream Team, which had nothing to do with NBA games, and of course were actually less exciting because there were blowouts, I think that catapulted it into fans' minds. And I think maybe you're not going to get 40% of baseball fans back. But don't you think there's some people who were reminded of how much they love baseball by this?
Okay, but what's going to happen? You're still going to root, and this is not a bad thing, and this isn't wrong, but I'm just telling you what's going to happen. You're going to still go back to your team you rooted for because that's what baseball's about. I will sit down and watch a random Memphis Grizzlies versus the Golden State Warriors when I'm not a fan of either team, but I'll watch that game. How many people are going to watch, because of the World Baseball Classic, are going to watch a random, if it's random to you, Cubs-St. Louis Cardinals game when you're a Seattle Mariners fan?
Well, nobody's ever watched that in the history of baseball.
I'm just saying. So you're not going to get that bump, I think, that the Dream Team did for basketball.
I think you're going to get a small bump. I do. And I think it helps you mentioned before, the pitch clock coming here is at a whole new level of excitement.
Yeah, would have liked the pitch clock last night, actually.
Yeah, I was
by the way, let's keep it going.
I admit, I was a little bored during the game. And, a huge at bat and Mookie Betts grounds to second into a double play was a huge letdown. Baseball is not a modern sport in the sense, even with the pitch clock, it's not going to have the same movement. But I think this showed how exciting the sport can be. And it was in the World Series. I think this is going to carry over. I think they're going to have a better year this year. I think it's going to be exciting.
We are streaming live, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio, where NebBC says, I blame the USA loss on Maggie. We just needed a little extra good vibes for the championship, but couldn't get there. Listen, I'm sorry. I know I was on the outside looking in. I said I didn't like it a week and a half ago. So now I had to be on the sidelines. I was into it last night. I was.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's going to do what people think it's going to do for the sport. Can we hear from Mark DeRosa? So Mark DeRosa is obviously the manager for Team USA. He was talking about Ohtani.
He's a unicorn to the sport. I think other guys will try it, but I don't think they're going to do it to his level.
Think about that. Other guys are going to try it. They're not going to be able to do it. I mean, Ohtani's got it all, but how much do you think now we're going to see teams, if a guy can pitch and can hit, we're going to see them at least try so that teams can try to get 1/10 of the buzz that Ohtani now has?
I haven't heard. I mean, is there a single prospect who's trying this, or is it any? I haven't heard anybody trying to reproduce it.
I think guys would like the opportunity, but it's beaten out of them so early in their career because you have to specialize into some aspect of this.
Yeah, I know. I think he is a true unicorn. I don't think we're going to see this. I can't imagine. Listen, you and I have a long-standing disagreement on what they should do with Ohtani.
Yeah.
If an owner is going to pay $600 million.
Well, that's what Buster Olney had theorized yesterday.
He's a free agent after the season.
Right.
If you're that owner, you are terrified of an injury because you're investing a lot of money. I think because of that, you want him to be a hitter. And also because if it's $600 million, you cannot put him out there every 4 days. You better have, and he'd be amazing as a hitter only. He's great as a pitcher. But for me, that's why he eventually has to become a hitter.
Yeah, I think he's more valuable as a pitcher. I get the hitter, but he's more valuable as a pitcher. I mean, especially look at what he did last night. I mean, he was good from the plate last night too, but he comes in the ninth inning and closes the game out and gets a save. I mean, that is unbelievable.
That's not that valuable.
You're not even sure that he's going to get up to bat in the most important parts of the game, where if he's pitching if you want, during the regular season, obviously he'll be on a schedule and he'll start every 5th day. But in the playoffs, I can start using him everywhere, where I can bring him out of the bullpen for an important game 3 of the World Series or game 5, where if he's hitting, you can't, he's at the mercy of the batting order.
Right, but if he's going out there, first of all, let's not talk about him. How long is he going to last if he's coming out of the bullpen in random games?
Well, that would just be
also,
the postseason.
I don't think analytics really care that much about an individual bullpen experience. They don't even value closers. So I just think every day it's important to have him out there every day.
But think about like the Washington Nationals several years ago when they won the World Series.
With Scherzer and Strasburg?
Yeah, and you had it was Strasburg who came out of the bullpen, right? Who had to close out some of those games. You've seen it happen before. So that's
your model here for
definitely 100%.
You're paying $600 million. The last thing you're going to do is say, well, you know what? He has so many innings as a starter. Let's add a few on the bullpen here.
Once you get to the postseason, definitely.
You're going to have to treat him with kid gloves. Yeah, once in the postseason, but come on.
But that's what we're talking about. That's the most important thing, too. It's got to be Ohtani on a big stage. And that was, I think, one of the things that's been so disappointing about Mike Trout's career is that he's this great baseball player. He's played 3 postseason games and won none of them. So for Ohtani, it's very important, I think, for his next act, wherever that is, whether it's on the West Coast or the East Coast, it doesn't matter where it is, but it has to be on a team where you're seeing him in the biggest games in October.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it seems like a fait accompli that's going to be the Dodgers or the Yankees. I'm sure other teams could get in there, but I would, if I could bet today, I would say the Dodgers.
Yeah. Which is funny because it's not that far away from where the Angels are. But if you're not in the postseason, it's such a waste for the sport, for his talent, all of it.
True. Back to the pitcher hitter thing.
Yeah.
Kids do not fantasize about being a great pitcher. I think The fantasy in your backyard is hitting the game-winning home run.
Right, but here's the thing. You never know if you're going to get that opportunity. What was so special about last night is you actually got Mike Trout versus Ohtani.
Yeah, but you never know if you're going to get that opportunity either as a pitcher. I mean, obviously, this thing, it's cute you're talking about this bullpen thing. I mean, he's not going to be a bullpen player.
No, I'm talking about if you have to understand what I'm talking about.
The fantasy is not striking out the best hitter, and the fantasy is hitting a home run in the last. Kids are much more attracted to home run hitters than pitchers. Nobody's out there saying, God, I want to be like Max Scherzer.
Well, I think a lot of people want to be like Clayton Kershaw. And I think I can speak for it here in New York. People want to be Jacob deGrom, or they did. I mean, that carried a lot of weight.
More than Aaron Judge?
Well, I mean, listen, versus a home run hitter, yes, this is why that chicks dig the long ball thing became a thing. But if you're asking me what's more prudent from an owner standpoint, and I'm not talking about him coming out of the bullpen in a random, series against the Kansas City Royals in May.
Yeah.
I'm talking about when you get to the postseason and if you need him to close out a series or an important game, he can do that just like he did last night.
Right, but I'm saying if you're going to pay $600 million, you're going to want to move him to hitter at some point soon. I mean, you just have to because that's such a huge investment. You better sell out every game.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is about hitting those, he's going to be able to do that late into his career. Knock on wood, like no devastating injuries. And I guess, you see Justin Verlander and, Kershaw and those guys pitching late in their careers. But the hitting, I feel like, will be the longevity where you got to maximize on the pitching now.
Even last night, he was reportedly, the radar got read out 102, 100, 100.
Oh, don't do this again.
Well, it's all crap. We all know
don't do this again. We just call BS on the radar guy.
There's no doubt. I tweeted out this morning, 102, one of those pitches to Trout is faster than anything Randy Johnson or Nolan Ryan ever threw in their entire career. Get out. They didn't even look like they were that fast. But it doesn't matter.
The Perloff eye test.
102 on a pitch like that, I just feels dangerous to his arm. It feels like he is throwing such smoke all the time that I'm really worried. You had told me that he had Tommy John already.
Yeah.
Still, you don't watch him pitch and say, oh, boy.
Well, every pitcher. I mean, it's so unnatural.
Every pitcher. DeGrom is the worst. I watched DeGrom.
And he's got a very fluid motion.
He's so brilliant that I always worry, this is not going to last.
No, guys like Noah Syndergaard and those guys you knew were doomed. I mean, they're so violent with their delivery.
Yeah, I mean, I guess who's been the most durable superstar pitcher? Kershaw, because he throws a lot of breaking junk. Well, Verlander's been out. How many times has Verlander been out for a season?
But he's still pitching at 40.
Yeah, but I mean, I think he had a serious.
Well, Nolan Ryan is probably the number one.
Yeah, there's no Nolan Ryan, right? But I see Ohtani. It's unusual how fast he pitches, and I don't know. You guys, you don't have that fear watching him? I do. I fear that he's going to get hurt before that $600 million deal.
No. I think he's going to get the money. He's going to cash in.